Hey everyone, so as you can see next to me here, I did something. I went to the bookstore again, and a couple of these were actually gifts because my birthday was earlier this month. So my dad went ahead and he said, go ahead and pick out some books. And I did pick out a few then, and then I went ahead and got some more for myself later on throughout the month. So I'm going to start with the actual books and then go through mangas. So to start with, these are the three of the four books that my dad got me. We were able to find Emily of New Moon, which is by L.N. Montgomery. I read Anne of Green Gables, the whole series, about 2 years ago. I was able to find the second two books in the Emily trilogy, but I was never able to find the first one, and I happened to randomly pick this one up and see it, so I went ahead and got it. And I'm very glad that I did go into that particular store and find this. Then they had a sale. It was buy one or buy two get one free in young adult books. Emily was one of them. Then I picked up Shabanu, Daughter of the Wind, and this is set in Pakistan, and it is about the girl Shabanu, and she is the second daughter in a family with no sons, and so she's been given a lot of freedom compared to others, and this just kind of follows her life. And it sounded pretty interesting to me, so I went ahead and got this. And it is a reader's circle, which means that it has a little bit of a discussion guide in it. And then the third one I picked up was Ballet Shoes. And I did not realize when I picked this up, this is actually on the Guardian list of 1,000 books to read before you die. So that makes me even gladder that I picked it up. And I didn't really know that much about this going into it. I was just like, oh, ballet shoes. I used to be into ballet. At least found it interesting. So let's go ahead and buy it. And come to find out, like I said, it was on the Guardian list. It's also 1 out of 7 books. Thankfully, this is the first one. So if I like this, I'll probably be continuing. Then I got myself the first 2 books in the Rotten Rune series, which is Rotten Rune and Dust and Decay. And the author of this, Jonathan Mayberry, I am reading a book by him right now called Mars 1, and I'm finding it very interesting. I like the reading style, and this is a zombie series, so I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. Let's go ahead and read it. And then this is a book I didn't even know was coming out, Fractal Noise by Christopher Poloni. And this is another sci-fi, and basically in another planet they see a spiral dug into this planet, and it's obviously not natural, so they go to investigate, and that's really all I know. And this is one of his shorter books, as you can see. So I'm definitely interested to get into that because, again, sci-fi. And then, when I got that, I also saw Lonely Castle in the Mirror. And this is one I've been hearing about from different booktubers that I follow. And it sounds really interesting. Basically, it is about a group of teens that they get sucked through their mirrors into this castle, and the whole reason is they're unsatisfied with their life. And this is translated from the Japanese, and so I'm definitely interested to read a longer Japanese novel. I have read a few. Obviously, the other books that I've read, and the author's name just completely escaped me. But yeah. And this is the first kind of like along different lines. They were more surreal. This is more, I would say, magical realism. And then I picked up, unfortunately, Yours. Now, I did wind up picking up the first book in this series, which is Secretly Yours. even though I had listened to it, I did like it for the most part. This follows the male romantic interest. It follows his sister along with another vineyard owner that we're introduced to in the first book. And it's a cute little series. If you feel, if you want romance, they definitely have the romance vibe. They're also very summery, so it's the perfect time to read it. So that's why I picked that one up. Then I got Palace of Mirrors, which is the sequel to Ella Enchanted. Or not Ella Enchanted, I'm sorry. Just Ella. And I did enjoy Just Ella. My library has Palace of Mirrors on audiobook. And so when I had read Just Ella years ago, I checked it out on audiobook, listened to it, still enjoyed it. I saw they had Palace of Mirrors. I checked it out and tried to listen to it, but the audiobook was corrupted, so every sentence it would freeze for 5 minutes. So I had to give up on it, but I still wanted to read it because what I got through of it was very interesting. So now I got this, and this is about the true princess who's been raised as a commoner, although she knows she's the princess, but she has to hide it. So then she goes to take back her crown, and the commoner who was put on the throne to protect her believes something completely different. So I'm definitely going to be interested to get into that. Then I picked up 3 Emily McIntyre books in the Never After series, which is Hooked, inspired by Peter Pan, Wretched, which is inspired by The Wizard of Oz, I believe. Yes. And then Twisted, which is inspired by Aladdin. Now, these are adult dark romances, so they're definitely not for everybody. However, as long as I know that kind of going in, that, they are darker, I can deal with it. And these are also all villain romances. For example, in Hooked, Peter Pan is the enemy of the main girl's father, and so he goes after her for revenge. In Wretched, the Dorothy character, Evelina, she is the bad guy. She is the brains, brawn, and botanist behind her family's drug empire. And then the wizard is a DEA agent, so obviously there's kind of that. Then Twisted, you have Yasmin, and her father is one of the richest men in the world. And then when he's dying, he says, I want to see you married to a man of my choosing. So then she goes to his right-hand man, Julian, and says, can you help me out here? And he wants to become the most powerful man in the world, does not care what it takes. So these all sound very interesting. I'm not sure if I'll get through them quickly or if it's going to be something that, I'm really going to have to be in a heavy romance mood to read it. Then I got Nefertiti, and obviously this is set in ancient Egypt about Nefertiti and then her younger sister. And of course I do like ancient Egyptian stuff, and so this sounded very interesting to me. Nefertiti is one of the Egyptian people I am definitely interested in from the past, so I saw that and picked it up. And then I have one more novel, and the rest are all mangas. And the last thing I picked up was Me by Elton John, which is a memoir. And I've always liked Elton John's music, and so when I saw this, I was like, hey, I'd definitely like to read about his life from his point of view and kind of all that. So I picked this up. And then as for mangas, I picked up 3 complete series, And then the only incomplete thing I picked up, this was just to get caught up, Zom 100. And I'm now up to volume 10. And I still have not read past volume 2. I really need to get on this. I'm hoping I will soon. And then I picked up the 3-volume series called Punch, which is about Ellie, who is a high school girl, and her pedigree is that her father is a lightweight world boxing championship, her mother a wrestling champion, and then her grandfather is a world champion in Muay Thai kickboxing. So, and she wants nothing to do with fighting, but her grandfather runs a gym. He wants her to marry somebody. She's not interested. And then the guy he wants her to marry gets beaten by an up-and-coming street brawler. He winds up going professional. And basically it's kind of like a forced proximity, it sounds like, that, and fake dating sort of thing to where she falls for him. So that's just 3 volumes, so that was a nice quick read. Then I picked up number 6, and there went my whole stack of books. But anyways, I picked up number 6, the omnibuses. There's 3 of these, volumes 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9. This is a dystopian futuristic series, and the main thing I know about it is that Tokyo has been split up into different cities, and our main character lives a perfect life in city number 6. Then he finds one day during a storm an outsider, and he is a fugitive, and so this leads to learning the dirty truth behind everything. And this is supposed to be like a classic manga, so I was definitely interested to get that when I saw it. And the last thing I got, and this was the last present from my father, 5 centimeters per second. This is the 2-in-1 edition, so this is the whole series. And this is set back before smartphones and everything were a thing. And you have 2 teenagers who fall in love, and then when they move apart, obviously they can't really keep in touch. And so the whole thing is the world moved at 5 centimeters per second is where the title comes from. And this has been marketed as similar to I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. And that book, that manga, the movie have like a chokehold on me. And they're very emotional. And this is kind of sounds like it's along the same lines. So I'm definitely going to be interested to get into this as well. And then, now that I'm done the book haul, I'm going to say I'm actually on vacation for the next week or so. So I'm hoping that a lot of these books I will be able to get through and do, a little vlog on what I've thought of them. And I'm also very excited that I found out Viz has its own app now. I know I have talked about the Shonen Jump app, and that's specifically for Shonen Jump titles, but now the Viz app has, for example, the Zom 100. That's just Viz. It's not Shonen Jump. It's not Soho Beat, but they have chapters of that. Call of the Night, which I've spoken about on my channel before. They also have some Soho Beat titles in there that are released chapter by chapter, or if you subscribe you can read them chapter by chapter. And the woman who wrote Punch, there's one of her series is on in there. And then Aoharu Ride by Ayo Sekisora, I think is how you pronounce her name. She also wrote Strobe Edge and Love Me, Love Me Not, which I wanted to read. Both of those are on there chapter by chapter. And I could just go on and on and on about the list. And as I update more on mangas, I'll probably let you all know if they are available through one of those two apps, because I think it's a good way to get a lot of manga. Viz is $1.99, Shonen Jump is $2.99 a month, and you can read 100 chapters a day, which is pretty much unlimited, and it resets at midnight every night. So yeah, I'm super excited to get more into that, but I do want to catch up on some of what I have physically first. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, like and subscribe, and I will have plenty more bookish content coming to you.